Let's bring in now former acting Attorney General and the Senior Fellow of American Cornerstone Institute, Mr. Matthew Whitaker, who's at CPAC as well, we should note. Matt, good to see you.
Good to be with you again.
Busy few days. Thanks for stepping out to the sidelines here. I want to get your take on this, the reaction to the arrest. You know, the Department of Justice, the FBI, they called Smirnov credible for years. They used him for years. They paid him more than $100,000. Why are all these issues arising now? And then they let him go. They rearrest him at his lawyer's office. It seems like they want to kind of shuttle him away and keep him in a certain jurisdiction. Some say it's California, ties to David Weiss. We're going a little bit into the weeds here, but I think it's very important that the public understands what could be at play here, especially because Hunter Biden's on the Hill next week, Matt.
No, you're absolutely right. And this is a big deal. Usually once someone has gone through a detention hearing and they've won that detention hearing, they have a monitor on and they're allowed to sort of, live their life generally free and report to a probation officer every so often. But in this case, to go get him again, tells me that there's a couple things going on. One is they don't want him out talking to anybody, even his own lawyer, before they kind of, understand the damage he could do. And I think the second thing is they're sending sending a message, not only to him, but to others that might be, potential sources for the FBI that, you're going to be treated harshly, which, again, being arrested twice in 2 days is pretty harsh. That's probably the message they're trying to send right now.
I think, too, what I'd like to get you to articulate is, okay, so there might have been some issues with this person. Great. But there's a whole wide web here of issues regarding Hunter Biden and the business dealings and other meetings they had with regards to Ukraine and Burisma. So for Democrats try to come out and say this dissolves everything and all the work that the GOP House investigators have been doing, I think is pretty sneaky.
Yeah, so I think that's an important point, and it can't be understated, is, they're trying to suggest that somehow this FBI source that has been, shown to now be accused of giving false information to the FBI, who had been determined credible on many other things, had these relationships that you laid out in the previous minute there. I think it can't be lost that this is just one of lots of allegations about the Biden's business dealings, whether it's with Ukraine, whether it's with China. Obviously this guy had nothing to do with China, had nothing to do with Romania, had nothing to do with all the other places that the Bidens were making tens of millions of dollars, laundering it through multiple LLCs, and then distributing it to members of the family. And so all of this suggests that this is much bigger than Mr. Smirnov, and I think you're going to see the House dig into that. And the fact that the FBI, I might point out, I think it needs to be said, is that they didn't even investigate whether these allegations were true or not until 3 years later, when the political heat started coming.
Right, exactly. The timing of all of it, a little bit suspect. Matthew Whitaker, appreciate your comments today and sort of giving us that critical lens here so we can get to the real heart of what may be at play. Good to have you in as always.
Good to see you again. Thank you for your time.
Enjoy CPAC.